Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to make a video for you guys today about how to get that single breakup blow up, but without actually having to exit your relationship. So this video is really perfect for somebody who maybe tends to have a pattern of losing themselves within relationships. So one of two things happens when people go this route. They either strengthen their relationship, strengthen their chemistry, deepen their connection, or they end up seeing their ways out of a relationship because the fog clears and they realize what they've been settling for this entire time. It is extremely common in unhealthy relationships, codependent relationships, that in order for the relationship to quote unquote work, you need to be self-abandoning. So something that I constantly hear from clients and from friends is that they thrive when they're single. They're on top of the world when they're single. They feel so confident. They feel so secure. They feel so great about themselves. But as soon as they're in a relationship, they feel like they lose all of that. They'll also report having really great honeymoon phases. And then somewhere down the line, everything just started to crumble. And there are many reasons for that. Reasons that don't require you to leave your relationship. A lot of times when we're going through a breakup or we're single, there's so many different variables driving our behaviors and our decisions during that time. Sometimes when you're going through a breakup, you feel driven to get better and to grow and to do better because you're in a lot of pain. You're going through grief. You have your heart broken. Sometimes later down the line, that turns into a form of self-love. It turns into something where you want to add value to your life. You want to fulfill yourself without somebody because you start to learn during that time that you don't need anybody to do that you can do that for yourself. And that's typically the point where the glow up happens, like the end result, where the process of the glow up is the things like starting a new hobby, starting to make new friends, going somewhere new, going on a solo trip, starting a new career, starting a new spiritual practice, finding God. Like those are all things that happen during the process. And I always view the glow up of the results at the end of doing those things for a prolonged period of time. But at the end of the day, really what is driving the glow up, no matter at what point it is in your life, whether it's freshly out of a breakup or it's 2 years out of a breakup, it's that you have taken on the responsibility to fulfill yourself and make yourself happy. You have accepted that role, and that's a great thing. So a lot of times what happens in relationships, and it's usually not right away because even in the honeymoon phase, we really cling to that glow up, right? Even in the honeymoon phase with people, we still want to come off as desirable. We still want to come off as valuable. Like when you first start dating somebody, you want them to know all like the cool hobbies that you have. You want them to know how well you take care of yourself. You want them to know how independent and self-sufficient you are. You want to always look your best and be your best. And then as relationships go on, rightfully so, we do start to get more comfortable, and we should. Once we achieve a certain level of safety, it is the right thing to let your guard down, right? You don't have to try so hard anymore to sell yourself to this person. But there is a very fine line, because a lot of times what I see happen is as people start to get more comfortable, they start to get a little bit more lazy with the things that they used to do either in the very beginning of the relationship or when they were single for themselves. Maybe they're not working out as much anymore. Maybe they're not eating as well anymore. Maybe they're not seeing their friends as much anymore. Maybe they haven't picked up that hobby in months. And as they're doing that, or as they're not doing those things anymore, their cup starts to drain and they start to lose themselves. They start to feel very unhappy. And the two easiest things to blame for our unhappiness in our life are usually our careers and our relationships. They're the two lowest hanging fruits because a lot of us expect those two things to provide us with a substantial amount of happiness in our lives. We look to have crazy careers because we think that it'll make us happier. And we look to have these kinds of relationships because we think that that person will make us happier. We think that those things will make us feel more complete, more fulfilled. So when we are lacking this feeling of fulfillment or happiness, we look to those two things that we think are responsible for it. And that's kind of the problem in a nutshell. We start looking to our partners to make us feel happier, make us feel better about ourselves, make us feel more secure, make us feel more confident. And we start to grow pretty resentful in the relationship. And the most common relationships that I see this in are people who have more of an anxious attachment style or codependency. And why this happens with these kinds of people is typically because of how they grew up and what they were taught love was. Not what they were taught verbally what it was, but what they witnessed love was. And maybe to them that looked like constantly putting themselves last, putting other people first, going until they had no more. They were taught that it was heroic to abandon themselves. Maybe they were celebrated more the more that they gave. That's really where they felt valuable. The more that they gave up, the more love that they received. So attachment identity is one reason why this happens in relationships. Another reason why this happens in relationships is because of detachment versus attachment. And I'm not talking about attachment styles now, I'm talking about attachments that we have in life to people, places, or things. When we are single and we're in that glow up phase, something that really is so attractive about our energy during that time is detachment. It's us being detached. And detached doesn't mean emotionless. It doesn't mean indifferent. It doesn't mean that you don't care. Detached means that you are so trusting of yourself, of life, and of God. It is like the most attractive energy in the world. I'm telling you, at every point in my life, when I really hone in on detachment and breaking any attachments I have, I swear the most frequent compliment I get is you are glowing. I don't know what it is, but you're something about you, you're glowing. And it's actually something I've been implementing back into my life recently. And I'm telling you, in the last 2 weeks, at least 5 different people have said to me, you're glowing. It's so attractive on like an energetic level. And I'm going to tell you why. When you're attached in relationships, which is what a lot of us trade off when we are no longer single and we enter a relationship, attachment energy is very needy. It is very desperate. It is very suffocating. Attachment means I need you to make me feel this way. I need our relationship to follow this kind of timeline. I need you or I need this. And if I don't get it, I'm not going to be happy. It really sends this message that you are responsible for my well being. You are responsible for the temperature of this relationship. You are responsible for my happiness. And I'm telling you right now, nobody wants to be on the receiving end of that. Nobody wants to be on the receiving end of attachments because what you're also on the receiving end of there is expectations. Nobody likes having expectations on them. Detachments are desires, meaning when you're detached and you're single, it doesn't mean that you're not looking to get married one day or have a family one day or settle down one day. It just more so means I can't wait for that to happen. I wonder who that's going to happen with. You're curious and you're also happy at the same time. And you can have some very specific desires during that time in your life. But what's so important is that you are not latched onto one. You are so surrendered and so trusting during that time. You know that you are so divinely protected that though I would like to see this outcome, I am so aware that this can also go 10,000 other ways. And I'm so okay with that. And I'm so excited to see what happens. That is such an attractive energy. And again, going back to when we're in a relationship and we're more in attachment, we're needy, we're demanding. It's very repulsive energy. And I know that that's like a very strong word to use, but it really does. It pushes people away. And even if we're just speaking on like an energetic level, people don't go towards something that's going towards them so strongly. It's not that you necessarily have to pull away to make something come towards you, but sometimes if you just remain in a neutral state, you're now making room for so many different things to come towards you. But when you keep going towards the same thing, you're repelling anything else to possibly come towards you, as well as you're pushing that thing away that you keep going towards so strongly. Learning how to become more detached in a relationship rather than attached is like massive when it comes to a quote unquote glow up. The next thing you need to learn is that it is okay to be selfish sometimes. And this is kind of going back to the codependent, anxious attachment conversation that I was having with you before. Is a lot of us have very unfair definitions of what it means to be selfish. A lot of us think that taking time to ourselves, going out with friends on a Friday night, having some alone time is selfish. People think saying no is selfish. Your relationship cannot be the best version that it can possibly be if you are not the best version of yourself that you could possibly be. You are 50% of that relationship. I feel bad going to do this instead, or I feel bad going to do that. I feel bad saying no. Like, feel bad all you want, but the more that you keep putting yourself last and the more that you just keep saying yes when you really want to say no, your relationship is going to suffer, if not fall apart completely. And going back to the honeymoon phase, I see this all the time. We're very strict early on in the honeymoon phase with maintaining our attractiveness. And I don't just mean physical attractiveness. I literally mean our energetic attractiveness. Sometimes we don't want to be too available, or sometimes we want to learn to say no a little bit, or we don't want to say yes all the time, or we want to make sure that we're going out with friends still. We want to make sure that we're still taking care of that hobby or our career. We really care so much during that time of maintaining our identity. because we don't want to lose this person, or we would like to see this relationship pan out. And we understand then how important it is to maintain that. But somewhere along the line, when attachment styles and relational beliefs, come in, trauma comes in, that tends to fizzle away and fall by the wayside. And I'm going to tell you right now, as a relationship coach, and even people just in personal life in general, the best relationships that I know, and I'm talking relationships of a couple years, and I'm talking marriages of like 30, 40 plus years. The best ones that I know consist of two people who care so deeply about their own life. And I'm not talking about having two separate lives. Even the people I'm thinking of in the top of my head right now actually share a lot of their time together and a lot of their lives together. One of the most selfless things that you can do for your relationship is be the best version of yourself. So sometimes the advice that I'll give to clients that sounds a little backwards when we're having these sessions or these conversations is, if you were single starting tomorrow, if your partner left you, if you never met them, if something happened, what would you start doing? And a lot of the times it sounds something like, I have always wanted to take this kind of class. I've always wanted to start working out, or there's this program that I've been wanting to apply for, or this degree that I've been wanting to get. I would start doing that. I'd start hanging out with friends more. I would go on a trip here. I would do that. And we usually create this long-term plan or list of almost this like glow up bucket list within their relationship for them to start checking off things that they're going to start doing to take care of themselves and become the best version of themselves. So like I said earlier in the video, something else that can happen is if you are in a relationship where you have completely lost yourself, you feel like you don't even recognize yourself anymore, you feel completely lost, you feel like every aspect of your life has completely fallen apart. Sometimes when you decide to make this change in your relationship or make this choice, sometimes what can happen is you can outgrow the relationship. And that is not a bad thing. Any relationship that requires you to shrink yourself, be a smaller version of yourself, abandon yourself, is not a relationship for you. I really need to drive home that that is not what love is. Love is not constantly burning yourself to keep somebody else warm. Love is not, I am nothing without you. That is not love. Growth often reveals the truth in relationships and really in life in general. Growth doesn't and it shouldn't create problems. If your growth is creating problems within your relationship, if it is causing your partner to resent you or belittle you or punish you, that is not love. That is control. That is attachment. Also, somewhere in the middle, what can happen sometimes when we do this is we can end up encouraging our partner to do the same. I see this outcome a lot, and this is like one of my favorite outcomes, that one person kind of makes the decision for the relationship that they're going to start tending to their own life and to their own happiness, and they're going to start taking responsibility for their own fulfillment. And sometimes the other person in the relationship does feel like a little abandoned or a little threatened by this new version of them. But instead of bringing them down, they take it as an invitation or an opportunity to do the same. This is a lot of times where I see relationships get re-sparked or rekindled when maybe they were unknowingly in a pretty unhealthy codependent dynamic. So these are the 5 pillars that I recommend to all of my clients and even my friends when they are at a point in their life that they just feel completely lost and they're looking to get themselves back. 1, you want to have a daily thing that tends to your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, your career or a new life skill, and your creative health. So if you've gotten anything from this video and you're looking to achieve this glow up within your relationship because you don't want to leave, you know it's not the relationship, you know that it's a pattern of yours, you know that it's a cycle of yours, these are the 5 things that I want you to go and write down right now and start to make a list of what you can start doing every day to tend to those 5 things. When you start making promises to yourself and keeping those promises and showing up for yourself, the level of confidence and security that you achieve within your body is like nothing else. And when we're single and we're in this glow up phase, we kind of get forced into this. It's almost like when we're grieving somebody, we have to go through the process. We don't have a choice. We have to take care of ourselves. We can't really speed it up If we want to, we have to just go through it. And really, the best glow ups that I've ever seen when people are single are not people that avoided the pain or tried to go around it or tried to get a shortcut. The best glow ups I have seen are the people that just go through it. They go through it. They know that it's hard. They know that it's going to require a sacrifice. They know that it's going to require effort. They know it is not going to be easy. They know that there's going to be days where they just want to give up, but they are at the point where they say, I need to do this for myself. I need to make myself happy. Whether it's because they're in pain, they're lost, or they're at the point where they are just so motivated to be the hero of their own lives. And why that fills us with so much confidence and security is because of the underlying surrender and detachment that we have during that time of, I have no idea how this is going to go. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to trust myself right now and my decisions right now. And I'm going to do what I believe that I need to do to feel better. It's the same thing if you're in a relationship. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to break patterns. You're going to have to break cycles. You're going to have to force some new behaviors. You're going to have to fight a lot of thoughts, a lot of emotions, especially if you fall under the category of anxious attachment or codependency. You're going to have to fight feelings of guilt, of feeling like you're being a bad boyfriend or a bad girlfriend or feeling like you're being selfish. But just like anything else, the more that you exercise this, the more reps that you do, you will get stronger at this. This is a win-win situation for you. You cannot lose here because one of three things are going to happen. You're going to see your way out of a relationship that was never for you in the first place. You're going to deepen the chemistry and the connection in the current relationship that you're in, or you're going to end up encouraging your partner that you're with to do the same, which will also then lead you to number two anyway, which is deepening chemistry and connection. You guys can't lose here. If you're somebody who is anxiously attached or codependent, I'm going to attach in my description this new ebook that I came out with last week. It's free. Go download it. It's super short and sweet and right to the point, but it's 5 things that you can start doing today to create more security and regulation within your relationship. Thank you guys for being here, and I will see you next week. Bye.